Shame Food for Worms album review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this latest album from Shame, UK-based post-punk and art punk band who, since they debuted, what was it, back in 2016? Probably, they have done nothing, and I do mean nothing but impress me. Now, around the time of their debut album, Songs of Praise, I could not have been more blown away with this as a debut album. This is what I wanted to hear in post-punk at the time. The energy, the urgency, the playing, the aggression. This sounded like just a punk album that was left on the burner for too long and was going to explode on the oven. It's become one of my favorite debuts in recent memory. It sounds so good. And shortly after, Shame followed it up with an album that really caught me off guard, the Drunk Tank Pink album. I think mostly because this threw me off because they had clearly grown quite a bit in a short amount of time, and that was nothing but exciting. This was not as urgent or explosive or pissed off sounding, but in its place was an introspective thinking man's art punk album, and it was really good. Maybe a little harder to get into, and maybe I was a little bit less on it when I first heard it, but it is still really good. And from the sound of these new singles leading up to this new album, they are not shying away of taking any risks on this new album, and they do just that. This album starts off with Fingers of Steel, and it is a hell of an intro. I've loved this since it dropped. It's not as fiery or as punchy as anything on their early work. I mean, it's definitely on the artsier side once again, but where it lacks in that, it still brings to the table a big hook, a fiery riff, some serious grit, plenty of urgency, and some real big risks as well. This is just a really anthemic, great start, and this is a fantastic single. On the other hand, I didn't even know what to make of Six Pack when I first heard it. It's great though. Between the funky riff and the shouted vocals, Shame aren't messing around. This is a pretty wild track. This seems like the next logical leap for the band. It has that urgency. It has that gut punch. It's also got some really sharp social commentary as well. And the very dangerous whisper quiet vocals that make their way in the second half are just thrilling. Shame just continue to have such a great sound, and I can't get enough of it. Yankees, on the other hand, takes an almost punk blues approach, especially in this track's intro. It's something different. It's really emotional, and it may just be my favorite deep cut here. It's got that driving riff, it's got plenty of heart, and the hook that we get here is easily one of the most memorable you're going to hear on this entire album. It's got the grit as well. This is great. Alibis, on the other hand, is one of the most pensive and dark tracks here. Of all the tracks on this album, this just sounds to me like, I don't know, it's got the most teeth to it. It just sounds dangerous. And those teeth certainly come out at this chorus. It's pretty gnarly. If you're a fan of their early work, the Songs of Praise album, give this a shot, because this thing is the most rough and tumble thing here. And thankfully, I don't have too much bad to report. Shame still seem to be on a real hot streak. I do have my few reservations, though. For one, Adderall. And I know a lot of people are going to be pissed about this. This is one of the deepest, most self-reflective tracks here. And this is one that people seem to love going into this album. Fans have been raving about this track, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe this could have been executed a little bit differently, but it's just too sluggish for me. I know it's very tender and very personal and very real, and I commend all of that. This just is not where I want to hear my Shame. And if you do love this track, I certainly get it, and I'm glad you do. But Burning by Design, I have no excuses for. I think this is the worst track here. What the hell is this track? This is a very lackadaisical, dreamy jam that just goes nowhere. And once again, it's very personal, very direct even, but man, it just doesn't have that gut punch. Like Orchid, which we're going to get to, is so much better of a stripped down track. Speaking of which, Orchid, as far as a more somber, more toned down track from Shame, here's the ticket. This is how it goes. I love the acoustic riff that we get here. The vocals punch so much harder on this track. This to me has all the passion and reminds me of who the hell I'm dealing with here. Shame have such a great sound. They continue to be on a great hot streak. Pianos are classy, the backing vocals add plenty of depth. This is a great track. Not only that, but the final chaotic minute that we get here is totally off the rails and really surprising. I really do love the fall of Paul too. This big bulky riff is just what the doctor ordered right about now. I love the sheer intensity of this track. It's just so in your face, and this chorus, my God, does it ever hurt. And this chorus, my God, does it hit hard. It's melodic, it's crushing, it's intense, it's in your face. This is what I need. And Shame continued to do nothing but impress with the finale of this album. Different person. Wow. First of all, the tension here. You can cut it with a knife. Whoa, Nelly, is it good? That soft, repetitive riff and the very sinister vocals that we get here. Amen to that. This track is over 5 minutes long, but it feels like an artsy post-punk journey, and it's absolutely worth it. And these lyrics, I mean, this has been a very real, very personal, very telling album for Shame, but even I wasn't expecting this much. It's one of the biggest risks here, and I think it pays off massively. It is so good. It is a damn anthem. And the final minute and a half, once again, wow. And all the people, to me, I couldn't think of a much more fitting ending to this album. This just sounds like such a big statement. This one last burst of energy. And yes, it is on the more low-key side, but it has a ton of heart and it really draws you in. It's anthemic, it's introspective, it's really deep, it packs a punch. This is what I wanted. Shame, like, I hate to be a fanboy here, but they have yet to put out something that I don't think is really pushing the genres that they're touching down on further and further. They keep evolving as a band, but they're doing it the right way. They're doing it a little bit at a time. They're putting out really quality material. They're writing better songs. The hooks are still here. The urgency, the crushing riffs, it's all still here, just in a different slight flavor, and I'm really happy with this album. And if you weren't into their last two albums and you want something with a little bit more of a risk, definitely check this out. It's on the artsier and weirder side here, and I'm happy to report it's really good. I'm feeling a decent 8 on this album, but let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.